My son called me on a Thursday night and said his wife wanted him to limit contact with me, not because I'd done anything, just because she decided I was too involved. 3 years later, her divorce lawyer called me expecting a payday, and all he got was silence and a hard lesson. I'm a retired structural engineer. I spent my life reading plans before I trusted a building. My son was the soft-hearted one, the kind who holds grief in his ribs and smiles anyway. After his mom died, he rebuilt himself slowly, and then he met Bree. The first time she came to my house, she was charming in that polished way. She also kept scanning the hallway photos, the kitchen upgrades, the layout. She did it while laughing, like it was normal. My son was glowing, so I shut up and let him be happy. After they married, things started slipping. Dinners got canceled and never rebooked. Calls went to voicemail for days. His texts turned into 2-word replies that felt supervised. When I asked if he was okay, he said, "Yeah, Dad, just busy." It wasn't a lie. It also wasn't the truth. Then came that Thursday call. He sounded like the house was empty around him. He said, "Bree thinks we need space from you." He repeated her words like he was reading off a script. "She says you're too involved." I stared at my own kitchen table and felt my chest go cold. I told him, "I hear you. I won't make this harder." Then I added, "But I'm still your dad. Nothing she decides changes that. You understand me?" He said, "Yes, sir." He hadn't called me sir since he was a teenager in trouble. That one word told me how trapped he felt. The next morning, I called my attorney and said, "I want everything reviewed. I didn't do it to punish my son. I did it because I could see a storm forming, and I don't build without load requirements. I put my house, my rental property, and a few million in investments into a trust and proper LLCs. Quiet, legal, documented, airtight. For 3 years, I didn't chase my son. I sent 3 cards a year. Birthday, Christmas, the anniversary of his mom's death. Every card ended the same way. I'm here. Nothing changes that." In 2022, my daughter told me Bri had filed for divorce. I didn't celebrate. I just felt that steady click of a plan meeting reality. 11 days later, an unfamiliar Knoxville number popped up. A man said, "This is Harrison Cole. I represent Brianna Stokes." Then, he cleared his throat like he expected me to flinch. Next, he said he'd found asset documentation during discovery. After that, he asked what my son could access financially. Again, he spoke like the money was already part of her deal. Then, I said, "Those assets were never sitting in his name." Next, I said, "They're held inside trusts and LLCs, legally." After that, he went quiet, like his script just dissolved. Again, I let the silence stretch until he had to breathe. Then, I said, "Assumptions aren't a substitute for reading plans." Next, I added, "It's been locked down since March 2019. He finally muttered, "I see." He sounded stunned. He never tried that angle again. Bree walked away with what was actually hers, which was way less than what she'd imagined when she started pulling strings. 3 days after that lawyer call, my son called me. He said, "Dad, I need to tell you some things." He admitted she'd been isolating him for years, selling it as security and boundaries. He whispered, "I believed her because I wanted my marriage to work." I said, "You don't owe me an apology for trusting the person you married. She's the one who abused that trust." He exhaled like he'd been holding his breath since 2019. Then he asked, "Small, can I come over this weekend?" I said, "I'll make your mom's pot roast." His voice cracked on a single word. "Okay." When he showed up, he sat at my kitchen table like he always had, a little too close to the edge. We didn't do some big speech. We talked about my daughter's pregnancy and the oak trees in the yard. After dinner, he washed dishes. I dried them. The silence felt normal again. At the door, he looked at his mom's photos and said, "She would have thought this ending was funny." I almost laughed. Then he said, "I'm sorry it took me so long." I told him, "You're here now. That's what matters." He hugged me like he meant it, and for the first time in years, nothing in him felt managed. After his taillights disappeared, I made another cup of tea and sat in the quiet. My paperwork protected my son from getting cleaned out, but it wasn't the real win. The real win was hearing him laugh in my kitchen again, and knowing the one thing Bree couldn't take was still mine.